G'day, my name is Rick Schneider. I play in the band Polaris, and I'm here to talk some shop and whatever else is going on.
So awesome to have you here. It's so good to see Polaris on the Knotfest lineup. What was your reaction to finding out you were selected?
Yeah, I mean, we're always stoked. Like any kind of festival in Australia, we're chuffed to be a part of. But to be not fest, Slipknot's playing. Like, I mean, I don't even need to go into the other bands to say like that's kind of the pinnacle thing. Like everyone is stoked on that. Everyone, as soon as we got the offer, I was like, all right, well, we'll make that work, and then everything else fell into place beyond that.
Yeah, so crazy. Did you guys celebrate or anything?
We didn't actually. I mean, we're growing up, we spend a little bit of less time together. We still get to see each other, and I think like once we had the offer and we all get to see each other again, I was like, "Eh." But
Yeah.
but at the same time, like, yeah, no, we're all stoked. Personally, I'm like the least Slipknot fan out of the guys, so yeah, I know, it's a bit of a mark against my metal cred, but no, the other guys, if they heard me say that, they'd be like, piss off because
Yeah.
they adore the band, and yeah, it's gonna be sick.
We'll let it slide, I guess. Um,
Thank you.
do you have any idea on the set list so far, or any surprises that you could let us in on?
Um, there won't be too many surprises. I think we're just really aiming to make this one like kind of the heavy hitters in every sense. So, whether it's like we'll definitely be playing like the new singles off the new record, Nightmare, Inhumane. But like we also just want to be like, okay, well, let's pick something off the first record. So we're probably gonna play Lucid. We're probably gonna try to get a couple off of The Death of Me as well. We're just trying to like kind of keep it as balanced as possible while also keeping it as modern as possible while also keeping it as heavy as possible. So it's kind of, trying to tick every box that we can, but we have ample enough time, so it should be a good one.
Yeah, definitely. So there'll be something for all your fans, I reckon.
Hope so. I mean, maybe, the softer fans will maybe only get one of, maybe only one song will tick that box, but for the fans of Slipknot and people who want to go ham, then should get a few boxes ticked there.
Mad, that's awesome. What bands are you looking forward to performing alongside?
Oh, it's sick to be able to perform alongside Baby Metal because the last time they were in Australia, I think it was for Good Things. I attended that day and I enjoyed seeing them, but I was like, all right, well, it'd be cool to be able to like actually kind of see that from the other side. But also, I mean, this is going way back to who was important to me when I was younger, and that's A Day to Remember for sure. So I'm incredibly keen to see them play.
Yeah, yeah, no, they'll be so awesome. And what's your absolute favorite song to play live of yours?
Absolute favorite to play live. Probably Hypermania. It's like again, it's got heaps of energy to it, but it's also like in the guitar parts a little bit more simple. Like it's kind of one of those songs where everything ergonomically fits into shape. So it's kind of like less stress, big payoff.
Yeah,
Kind of
yeah.
it's always a nice one to play.
I'd have to say it's one of my most favorite to listen to, so I'm glad that it's your
Yeah.
favorite to play.
Well, thank you. I'll be listening out for your voice when we play it then.
um, you've played all around the world. What's special about playing to an Aussie audience?
Oh, I mean, other than just the accent and the general behavior of the Aussies, like, you get a touch of the Aussie kind of mentality when you're in places like Spain or you're in places like Scotland where they kind of go just as crazy as we do. But at the same time, like there's something comfortable about being around your people. Like it's always nice because especially now that we do play internationally so much, every time we get to play home, it's like a bit of a homecoming every single time because it might have only been a couple of months since we played, or it could be the better part of a year. So,
Yeah,
like in the case of this one, we had our regional tour mid last year. So we'll be almost, 9 months since we've last done a show in Australia where we finally get to come back and do a big festival like Knotfest. So yeah, I
yeah,
think that's the comforting part of it.
yeah. And it must always be nice to come back to Australia, I imagine.
Oh, for sure. I mean, pending. I'm a man that likes the cool weather. So right now it's overcast. It's 22 degrees. It's a nice day, but when we come back from a tour in December and we've been over in like European winter, get back here and it's like 42 degrees. It's like, oh, okay, I could let that, I could leave that behind for a bit, but no, it's still home.
Yeah, oh, awesome. Your role as guitarist is hugely important in Polaris, as your sound to me really stands out because of you. With the songwriting process, are you the one that first lays down a tune for the others to build on?
Generally, yeah, like it's almost always instruments first for Polaris. Like it's probably one, maybe two songs on the record where Dan will come together with something that's more like lyrically kind of sound and be like, this is what I want to do. Here's a rough guideline, and then we'll work from it. But most of the other time, it's just throwing riffs at the wall until one sticks, and then eventually, moving on to the next part, moving on to the next part. And once we get that skeleton where we go, okay, this is instrumentally interesting enough, is when we kind of go back and go, okay, now how do vocals work, and then refine it from there. But typically, yeah, it's the pressure on the riffs and the guitars first, and then
Yeah.
everything else falls into place once that's feeling good.
Wow, that's insane. When you're on tour, are you guys pretty wild or are you fairly chill and relaxed?
Nah, I think we're fairly chill. Like it was probably 5 or 6 years ago now where we started to make the kind of, it's a soft rule, but at the same time everyone abides by it, where it's like no more than 2 beers before the set. And that means, you could go out for lunch and you have a beer and you're like, all right, that's one. Okay. And like, we definitely, if it's say the end of a tour, or if we link up with some bands that we're like really mates with, then sometimes we can get a little bit more out of hand. But typically speaking, everyone likes to get their rest and their sleep. And yeah, just a nightcap and then a good night's rest is usually better off than going until 3, 4 a.m.
Yeah, definitely. Do you know, it's so funny. I've interviewed a few bands on the Knotfest lineup now, and a lot of them usually have the same answer. They're like, "No, we want to put on the best performance we can. We don't want to go too hard." And I'm like, "Yeah, I respect
It's
that as a 30-something-year-old."
yeah, exactly. I mean, I just turned 31 the other week, so we're all getting older, but
Yeah,
it's also like you'd feel like saying it to other people, like, "Oh, what do you do?" "I'm an accountant." It's like, "Oh, sweet, you must get pissed on the job every day."
yeah,
Like it's
yeah,
like, "No, I'm doing my job."
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
but
yeah.
yeah,
Crazy.
no, it eventually gets to that point where professionalism needs to, go above your, partying desires, especially as you say, 30 years old, you have a good Saturday and you're paying for it on Friday. So,
Exactly, exactly. It sucks. Do you have any advice to Aussie bands starting out looking to break into the music scene?
oh, I mean, it's such a different landscape to when I was younger and kind of getting into it. So, like, it's just tough now. I'd say, honestly, social media is like the best thing to do. Like, and that's not just like, don't just post on Instagram, like, get on TikTok, get on YouTube, like, get your music out there in every single avenue that you possibly can, because you don't know which one of those is going to pick it up. Like, you could get ignored on Instagram for 5 years, you could get picked up on TikTok in one day. Like, and for me, I'm out of touch on that. So, I've always been kind of second fiddle for all social media managing. And so,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I wouldn't have the daftest clue, but as far as the music side of it, just make music that satisfies and pleases you. If you're happy at the end of the day, then you hope that someone else in the world will hear it and be, just as thrilled as you are to hear it.
Yeah, yeah. And for you guys, did social media at the time play a bit of a bearing or for your success or not really?
Um, Maybe not so much a bearing on success, but it definitely helped us get started. Like having Facebook groups and just being able to like kind of commingle with other bands that we had barely interacted with, and then getting on shows. Like we played out at St. Mary's, probably like I think it was like 4 or 5 times,
Yeah,
and that had a Facebook page attached to it, and they were posting what bands are on, if they had spots, and just things like that. Like kind of just keeping your ear to the ground and being involved as much as possible. And back then it was Facebook and a little bit of Instagram, and now
yeah,
it's yeah, all manner of things.
yeah, that's it. And what moment for you was the moment that you really said to yourself, wow, we've made it?
Um, I mean, I'd probably chalk that up to like the first time we are going over to America, I think, because like the first time we went to Europe, it was like, "Ooh, we're finally doing something." But then actually going to the US was like, oh, now we're gone, like we've gone everywhere. Like, well, not everywhere, but you know what I mean.
Yeah,
But yeah, no, it kind of felt like we were finally into our stride by the time we were hitting America, and everything kind of started to feel more comfortable and less stressful. And yeah, I think that was the time when there's always a step beyond where you're at. And so it was never like we've rested on our laurels and been like, we've made it, boys. This is it. Like we're coasting now. But I
yeah,
think, yeah, once we started getting to the international scene, it was like, oh, okay, we're actually, we're amongst the other bands that we used to aspire to be. Like, so it
yeah,
was cool.
yeah, crazy. And what sort of bands have you been listening to at the moment? What do you like?
I've been listening to a bit of alt. I believe they're from somewhere in Europe, but it's ALLT, so not alt Australia. Yeah, I
Yeah,
know.
yeah,
I had to do a double take. I was listening to them on Spotify, and they came up on Spotify Radio. I was like, "Is this? Why have they got another L?" And I was like,
yeah.
"Okay, it's another band. All right, all right." But
Interesting.
um, but yeah, I've been listening to them a bit. The new Architect singles, the new Spirit Box, I've been listening to. Yeah, I'm just kind of keen for new music. It's always a weird time of the year when you get to like mid-January and you go like, when's anything coming out? And then you realize
Yeah,
like, oh, everyone's in the same boat. They're just, enjoying the holidays. And once we get
yeah.
back to February, March, then we'll be back to our regularly scheduled
Oh, yeah,
programming. We'll get some new records. And
that's
yeah, I'm
it.
kind of excited for the 2025 releases.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Me too. Aside from guitar as well, what are some of your hobbies?
Recently I got a 3D printer, so I've been printing all little knickknacks, or not knickknacks. I've been trying to make it. I don't want to be the guy that has like 15,000 Pokemon figurines around my house that I printed. So I'm just making little
Wow,
brackets and little holders and little things to kind of make life a little bit better. So
awesome.
I also learned how to Rubik's Cube the past couple of months, which is fun. Just cracked 3 minutes the other day.
Oh,
Um,
bad.
other than that, I just play video games, and my partner and I actually we bought a house towards the end of last year. So this is kind of the side hustle now, just making sure the house is neat and
Is
tidy, and
yeah.
slowly making improvements. So yeah, it's been keeping me busy.
Oh, damn. I wish we had enough time. Otherwise, I'd like to see that Rubik's Cube deciphering. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, if once I get it to under 1 minute, then I'll start showing it off on interviews.
Oh,
But until I get to that point, it's too much dead air.
oh. What's the weirdest or coolest thing you've been given by a fan?
One of the coolest things, because actually this is something I should have mentioned, but we've got a bit of Lego around the house as well. And a fellow over in Ireland, actually, he makes customized band Lego sets. So it's like a little stage with like the kind of their roles, like guitars and whatever else. And he gets like the minifigs. It was so great because like it was like everyone kind of had their thing, like getting Ryan's hair, getting Rick's hair, getting the beard, getting this, getting that. But he's like, Jamie's hair, I couldn't find the right one. So he ended up getting a Thor figurine and then like cutting out some of the top fringe and like just sculpting it a little bit differently. So
Oh my
that's probably
God.
one of the coolest things that we've received, I think.
Oh, that's so cool. Are they pretty big, like on social media?
I believe so. Yeah, I'm trying to remember the name.
I think I've seen a few of their
You
stuff,
definitely would
and
have
it's
shared
like,
it. You would have
yeah,
seen it before because yeah, I've seen like since we've received ours, I've seen like another probably five or six from other bands that I know personally who have
yeah,
received theirs, and I'm like, oh, that's so sick.
that's so cool. Um, what are you most looking forward to at Knotfest?
Oh, I mean, again, a day to remember Slipknot. That's going to be like a kind of just tour de force every single night getting smashed by them. But I'm just excited to play again, to be honest. Like it's been a little while now since we've done a festival, and the last one was Good Things, which kind of blew us out of the water. Like I remember in Sydney, we were like, okay, we'll try to get the circle pit around the sound desk. And we're like, yeah, we'll see how we go. We've tried that before, and everyone looks at you like you're a weirdo. But no, Sydney, it actually happened, and we're just like, holy shit! So we've just kind of been eager to get back out on a festival stage again back home and just rip it.
Yeah, yeah, that's awesome, and I just know it's just going to be so good at Knotfest. I can't wait. Rick, as a huge fan of Polaris, I can't wait to see you guys play Knotfest. I know you'll melt our faces away as usual. Thank you so much for your time.
You're more than welcome, and thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you so much.